The bands have been so rough lately that I will go out to do a POTA planning to use CW, and will have to resort to FT8 because I just can't get the contacts in on CW. So I thought it would be interesting to do a video where I show my FT8 setup, what I've sort of figured out along the way, and then we'll switch over to CW and try to do a little CW, because watching someone do FT8 in a video is like watching paint dry. So I'll go through my FT8 setup and then try to do a little CW. So if I know that I may need to switch over to FT8, I have to bring more stuff. First of all, I have to bring a bigger radio. I use the IC-705, which is probably the easiest radio to get set up on FT8. I did the USB-C conversion, which worked flawlessly. It's a little bit unnerving to take apart your $1,400 radio, but it was very straightforward. It just worked, had no issues, didn't have to do anything, just worked the first time. So highly recommend the USB-C changeover. And what that does is it makes it so that you can go USB-C to USB-C in the computer, and makes the data transfer that much easier. For the computer, I've ended up with a ThinkPad. I started with that $60 laptop that everybody uses, and it's great because you can charge it off of 12 volts, but it's clear that it's pretty bad on the shielding side for $60. I mean, what would you expect? And I ended up frying mine on 40 meters with FT8. 40 meters is always a little bit touchy. The RF can get back into the computer, but I locked it up on 40 meters and it has not come back to life. So I ended up with a ThinkPad, just kind of one up from the cheapest. I'm usually a Mac user, so I haven't owned a PC for like 20 years before buying that $60 laptop. So something that I've noticed is that digital modes have always been a little finicky. So just because something works one day doesn't mean that it's going to keep working. At least that's been my experience. So sometimes out in the field, you have to do a little troubleshooting. So it's something that you want to practice with at home, because it can be frustrating if you get out here and things don't work the way that they did when you left the house. I have mine set up so that the GPS signal from the 705 will feed back to the computer and should update my time. It doesn't always work. That's why I'm not receiving anything yet. FT8 is very time sensitive, as you probably know. So sometimes I have to go in and connect to my phone's hotspot to get the time to update, which is not the best situation if you're out in a remote location and you don't have a cell signal. So it's another thing to consider. The GPS feeding back to the computer works sometimes, doesn't seem to work all the time. So the first thing I'm looking for is to update my time. And I find that my time gets out of sync even if I was just on my home Wi-Fi. I close this computer, I drive out to a park, I open the computer, the time has already gotten off in that amount of time. So you have to have a way to sync your computer time. That's kind of one of the first challenges that I've found. I'm going to leave links to a lot of stuff down in the description of this video. I don't want to take you through all of these steps, like setting up your 705 to feed the time off the GPS back into your computer. I'll let other people who have done much better job with that explain that to you. So I need to, gonna have to use the hotspot method. So this is the GPS to the time thing is something that was working at one point and probably needs some attention again. I noticed that digital modes something always needs some attention. So it's just something that you have to sort of be ready for. Sometimes I need to move off and then move back on to the frequency. It looked like it was a little bit off frequency there. So now the time is synced. I should be on frequency. We should start to see some signals now. There we go. There's our signals. So it always takes a little bit of work to get it back going again, is what I find. I could be doing something wrong. It's very possible that I am. But I always find it to be a little bit finicky, and you always have to be ready to troubleshoot. So now, even though I have my logging software going for my big log, for my forever log, when I'm doing a park activation, I like to log in ham2k because it will output separate files. If you're in World Wildlife, Flora and Fauna, and POTA, and it'll log the time and everything for you. So it's much easier for me to grab this file and upload to POTA than to try to pull it out of my big log. So I leave my big log going, again, just for my QRZ and ARRL and all that stuff. But for the POTA website, I pull it out of ham2k. And I did FT8 the last time, so I'm ready to go. So I'm going to go spot myself now. And I put in CQ POTA. And go look for an empty spot. We've been listening for a little while now. See if we can find an empty spot in here. And enable transmit. I'm using the Pactena NFET half wave, and it's dead flat on FT8 after I added a little bit of length to it. So I'm not using a tuner with this radio, which is what I prefer. ham2k pulls up the state for you, which is nice. Pulls up the person's name so that you know that you got the call right. And then also, if I'm switching back and forth between FT8 and CW, this will log everything in one file. So I only have one file to upload to the POTA site when I'm done with my activation. So hopefully that's helpful. I think that would have helped me when I was trying to figure out FT8 and taking it out in the field. So I'll log some FT8 contacts here, and then I'll come back with some CW and we'll see what we can do. All right, so that was painful as promised. I got 7 contacts in about half an hour. So now we're going to switch over to CW and see if we can pick up our remaining 3 and a couple more on CW. After I stop transmitting, I always give it a cycle or 2 because sometimes someone will pop up just as you're finishing up. Like that right there. See if we can grab him before we log off. Start to set up for CW while this is running. And we'll see if we can find some. Usually try to hunt first. Some big crashes today. Alright, so let's just pick a spot. $61.5. How does that look? else in there. Yep. Did it? Is that what it was? We'll finish out the hour. Got lucky 13 right now. Oh, there we go. Good. Da, 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 da. Alright, I think that's going to be it. So this Ham 2K is nice because you also get a map. So I'm definitely going west, almost all west. And I think it even breaks it into, does it give you, I think it used to be different color. Oh, it gives you different colors for different bands. If you change bands, it'll have different colored dots. Alright. It's a good activation. Got 15 in about an hour. About half FT8, half CW. It's not too hot. All right.